What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90, and I wasn't lying when I said that this was a busy time on the channel. You guys have been loving the Premier League predictions, the Champions League predictions. Today, we are back for my Week 6 Premier League predictions and tips for all your viewing pleasure. I want to give a massive shout out to Junaid Hussain. I hope I've got your name right there, pal, but he left his predictions on the previous video and not only predicted Aston Villa to beat Leicester, also correctly predicted the Merseyside derby score 2-2, which I also did. So if you want to get featured in the next episode of the Premier League predictions, then leave yours down in the comments below and I'll pick someone who maybe predicts an upset or just has an overall good week to be featured in the next episode. Now, before we get into the Week 6 predictions, as normal, we'll have a quick look back at my Week 5 predictions. Kicking it off, we had Everton Liverpool. I predicted the 2-2 draw. Obviously, it was controversial, but the offside discussion has been discussed at length on many platforms at this point. I mean, strictly speaking, his armpit was offside, but it's a ridiculous rule that should even be considered when you basically get what I'm saying. So by the letter of the law, technically offside, but I think it was just ridiculous. So you think of that what you will, but either way, correct score prediction. After that, Chelsea-Southampton, I predicted a 3-1 win to Chelsea and predicted Chelsea would win and over 2.5 goals in the match, and it almost came to fruition, but Southampton scored a late equaliser. I got the general gist of how the game would go right, high scoring and all that, but Southampton did well at the end. The next game, Man City up against Arsenal, I predicted a 3-1 to City, and as an Arsenal fan, I was really disappointed with the 1-0 loss. I think we could have at least drawn 1-1. I think we played well, a little bit passive at times, but for the first time against Manchester City, we weren't completely dominated or outplayed. And yes, I'm sure Kevin De Bruyne being injured played a part in that, but I was disappointed we didn't get anything from that. After that, we had Newcastle, Manchester United. This was a perfect example of the tip working, even though I got the result wrong. I predicted a 2-2 draw, and it obviously ended in a 4-1 win to Manchester United. But my tip was that there would be a penalty in the match. And of course, there was. Next up after that was Sheffield United versus Fulham. I correctly predicted a 1-1 draw, and I offered two tips in my video, a draw at 3.4 and over 1.5 goals. So both those tips worked, and the correct score prediction was there as well. After that, we had Crystal Palace versus Brighton. I predicted a 2-1 away win to Brighton, and my God, it should have been. Brighton just completely outclassed Palace, but it somehow ended in a 1-1 draw, but my tip was Brighton double chance at 1.5, so we're all good there. Coming up after that, I really thought I absolutely nailed this prediction. I predicted Tottenham to beat West Ham 3-2, and my tip was Tottenham to win and both teams to score, and if not for possibly the goal of the season, goal of the decade contender, it would have been 3-2 to Tottenham, but obviously Tottenham blew a 3-0 lead and it ended in a 3-3. After that, it was Leicester, Aston Villa. This is one that I got wrong. Obviously, I did record that video quite a bit in advance, and I wasn't aware of Leicester's lengthy injury list, and that's just something that had to happen. I couldn't record it any later. I predicted a 2-2 draw, and it ended in a 1-0 win to Villa. So Aston Villa, the only team remaining in the top four leagues, I believe, with a 100% win rate. West Brom and Burnley, I thought West Brom would win. I thought they'd finally get a win, but it ended in a 0-0 draw. And Leeds versus Wolves, I predicted a 1-1 draw. I think that would have been a fair result, but Wolves managed to nick the 1-0 win. Would have been 2-0 if it wasn't for the offside before the fantastic ruled out goal that they got. But anyway, let's move on into Week 6. We have an absolute cracker to begin with. It is Aston Villa up against Leeds, and this is quite a tough one to call. Leeds has been playing pretty well this season. Aston Villa, unstoppable this season. Genuinely, they've looked very, very good. And I think I'm going to go for an Aston Villa win here because obviously Leeds, they were the best in the Championship last year, but Aston Villa had that previous year in the Premier League, albeit a little bit scratchy. They've strengthened their squad a lot since then, and momentum takes you a long, long way in football, in sport, and in life in general. So I'm going to go for an Aston Villa win. I'm going to say 2-1, but my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.61. I think after drawing a blank against Wolves, Leeds, going to Aston Villa, knowing how in form they are, will obviously think, well, we've got to score, so I think they will, but Aston Villa should get enough. But if it does end in a score draw, or even if Leeds win, I expect Villa to score, so my tip there is both teams to score. Next up, it is West Ham up against Manchester City. Man City probably still without De Bruyne, I'd imagine. Maybe he's back, I don't know. But West Ham are looking really, really good. I was surprised to see a lot of people predict West Ham to get relegated at the start of the season. I know I predicted Aston Villa to get relegated, but again, that was before they signed Barkley, Watkins, and kept Grealish there permanently. But I'd put West Ham close to top half of the table just because every year, I know they underperform, you could argue, but just look at their squad. It just is good, and they're finally playing like it. So I think they're going to cause Manchester City some troubles. I was very, very tempted to go for a 2-2 draw, but I think Man City have got to win. They really do. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win to Manchester City as my score prediction. So very, very close, all things considered, when you think of West Ham and Manchester City individually. But my tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 1.83. Next up after that, we have Fulham up against Crystal Palace. Fulham, they haven't looked good this season. I mean, a lot of us, people doing predictions, predicted them to get relegated. Crystal Palace, I predicted them to finish 17th. I could have predicted them to get relegated. I just didn't know where to place the teams exactly. I really was not impressed with, first of all, the way Palace played at Chelsea, and second of all, the way Palace played against Brighton. And if they weren't playing Fulham, I would predict them losing here, and I almost predicted a Fulham win, but I didn't do it. But I've got some pretty good odds here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be low scoring, and I just can't separate the two teams. Fulham are not as threatening going forward as you'd want them to be, given their lack of strength at the back in order for them to be able to compete in this league and at this level. And Palace are very compact, and whilst it's quite negative, they do keep the goals down. So the 1-1 draw, and my tip is going to be Crystal Palace double chance and under 3.5 goals. So that can be 2-0, 1-0 to Palace, 1-1, 0-0, 2-1. Basically, it's a pretty good odds for that, I would say, at 1.75. Next up, it is Manchester United up against Chelsea. This could go either way. Manchester United just coming off of a really good win against Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously, they won 3-1 in March 2019 against PSG, but this performance where they won was far better, because I think United were lucky to get the win in the way they did and got what they needed to qualify in 2019. But last night, when they played Paris Saint-Germain, they were overall the better team. They worked harder, and as a result, they won the game deservedly so. So that was a much better performance against PSG, in my opinion. And they look really good. They dispatched of Newcastle. Chelsea came off of a draw against Sevilla, which is a decent result because they're the only real sort of contender for top of the group in Chelsea's Champions League group. And they do throw away leads, though, don't they, Chelsea? They drew 3-3 to West Brom and to Southampton, so I can't pick a winner. Man United are in red-hot form. Chelsea have a lot of talent. I was really tempted to pick a Man United win. Yet, do I do it? You know what? I think everyone's going to pick a draw, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to back Manchester United to win. My original prediction was 2-2, but Man United did look really good, and they've looked good in the last couple games, and I feel like they're going to go on some kind of run. So I'm going to predict a 2-1 home win to Manchester United, but my tip again, old reliable it seems, is a penalty in the match at 2.6. I just can't look past those odds when you've got Man United in the game, and not only that, Chelsea as well will offer just as much going forward and could very easily get a penalty as well. Depends if Harry Maguire plays, but I don't think he will after the Paris Saint-Germain performance from the defenders. But coming up after that, we have Liverpool and Sheffield United. I believe I have spotted some fantastic value in this game. Now, the odds for Liverpool to beat Sheffield United are 1.2, which is absolutely nothing, especially considering the injuries that Liverpool have sustained. I believe Thiago's injured, but the main ones, Alisson and Virgil van Dijk. With Van Dijk, Liverpool have approximately a 70% win rate, which is amazing. Without him, their win rate drops below 50%. At 46% without Van Dijk. And I haven't seen them play in the Champions League against Ajax because I'm recording this on that day. But I think because they don't have Alisson or Van Dijk, Sheffield United will think they can get something from this game, and I think therefore they will score. However, Sheffield United haven't had a great season. Liverpool are a class above them, and I think the likes of Mane in particular, but also Salah, will have a good day at Anfield, and I think they're going to score a couple of goals. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 home win to Liverpool, but my tip is going to be Liverpool and both teams to score at 2.5. I think that's really good value. Now, the next game is Southampton up against Everton. Southampton looking good going forward. Danny Ings is still firing. I did say in the Chelsea prediction that they wouldn't be able to keep Danny Ings quiet, and lo and behold, he scores again. So I think this is going to be a very, very exciting game because Everton, obviously, they're at 13 points from 15. They're looking pretty good. They will be without Richarlison, I believe, but I still think Everton are looking amazing. Calvert-Lewin's still going to be playing. The bulk of Everton's midfield is still going to be there. So I think they're going to have just too much for Southampton. I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win to Everton because I just think they look really, really good. But Southampton and Everton games, it's going to be high scoring in my opinion. So my tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at a pretty fair price of 2.0. Now coming up after that, we have Wolves up against Newcastle. Newcastle were pretty woeful against Manchester United, and Wolves fought hard to get a well worked win against Leeds, and they managed to get the 1-0 away win. Wolves are in a very weird position in the sense they played 5 games, won 3 and lost 2, and have a negative 2 goal difference, largely due to their absolute spanking thanks to West Ham. But I think Wolves are going to keep this tight, keep this low scoring once again. Defensively, they're pretty sound. Patricio, I really rate him as a goalkeeper, and I think they will do what it takes to get the win. So I'm going to go for another 1-0 win to Wolves, and my tip is going to be Wolves to win at 1.72 because I think the value there is pretty good. I mean, this could be a draw, but I think Wolves should get the win. Now, next up, we have Arsenal up against Leicester. Arsenal, as I said, I think they played really, really well against Manchester City for large proportions of that game. I think Edison had a man of the match performance. He looked really good. And I think Saka looked really, really promising as well, as he has done for quite a while now. So I think Arsenal are going to beat Leicester in this fixture. I know Leicester have still got quite a lot of injuries. Vardy, Soyuncu, I believe, and Ndidi. And Ndidi is a really, really big miss for Leicester. And Vardy, he has got that final finish that maybe now they're lacking a little bit. So I think Arsenal at home, where their form is very, very good, I see them getting a simple enough win, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to the Gunners. Now, next up after that, we have Brighton and Hove Albion up against West Brom. Brighton consistently playing well this season and somehow not getting the results. I think that changes today. I gave West Brom the benefit of the doubt against Burnley. They couldn't get it done. They couldn't score a goal, and West Brom have conceded a boatload of goals this season. I was going to say butt-ton, but I didn't, but I did now. So I'm going to go for Brighton to win this game, 2-1, and my tip is Brighton to win at 1.83. I know Brighton haven't really been doing it yet, but if they're going to do it, it's at home to West Brom, and I think they are going to do it, maybe even by more than 1 goal that I've given them here, but Brighton to win at 1.83. And the final game, it is Burnley up against Tottenham. Is Burnley's lack of spending finally going to see them relegated into the Championship, as they can't keep up with the level that the Premier League's progressing to, other teams making moves, Burnley not doing so, and they are up against Tottenham, who have had a good transfer window, and genuinely, when they were 3-0 up against West Ham, I thought potentially that Tottenham could, well, certainly push for top 4, but possibly even further than that, given Manchester City's and Liverpool's shaky start and Liverpool's recent injury news. I thought Tottenham could maybe push for the league. Maybe they still can, but you can't really blow a 3-0 lead and expect to do that. Who knows how that's going to happen, but I think Tottenham are going to win this one comfortably. They have to come back with a bang. So I'm going to go for Tottenham to win this one 4-1. I'm giving Burnley a goal because after conceding 3 to West Ham in 10 minutes, you're pretty susceptible to conceding a goal in 90 minutes. Obviously, Jose Mourinho will make it imperative to get that clean sheet, but I just get a feeling he's going to fail. So my tip is going to be Tottenham to win and over 1.5 goals. So that allows for a 2-0 if it's a more subdued game and they're not quite fully firing in the attack. But I'm going to go for the 4-1 win to Tottenham. Tottenham win and over 1.5 goals as my tip at 1.95. So that is going to do it for my Week 6 Premier League predictions. I'm quite happy with these tips. I think there's some really good ones in there. I think both teams to score over 2.5 goals in the Southampton-Everton game is good. Liverpool and both teams to score at 2.5 is very, very juicy. And the Brighton win at 1.83 is very, very exciting. That might even be a nice little treble, or maybe a fourfold with the Tottenham winning over 1.5 goals, Brighton win, both teams to score over 2.5 goals in the Everton game, and Liverpool and both teams to score in the Sheffield United game. I think that could be an interesting little acca. Maybe I'll dabble with that and let you know how I get on. But that is going to do it from me. Leave your predictions down in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for all the support, and I will see you in the next one very soon.